Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our preview of the General Ledger Work Centers and Insights, some of the many new features that Cardinal will roll out as part of our upgrade project. We really appreciate you attending today. Okay, here's our agenda for today. We're going to start with a few introductions, then I'm going to give you a quick overview of the upgrade project and discuss the session objectives. I'll then turn it over to Chantel, who will show you the new General Ledger Work Center. Chantel will then turn it over to Kim, and Kim will show you another great new feature, our Insights dashboards. I'll fill you in on what to expect in the next few months, and we'll end with any last-minute questions you might have. So our main speakers today are Chantel Cox, our General Ledger team lead, and Kim White, who has returned from retirement to work on special projects. My name is Dana Smith, and Monica and I are the change leads here at Cardinal, and we'll be facilitating this session. The Cardinal team is enhancing both Fin and HCM, upgrading these applications to the latest PeopleSoft releases. We started the project in September 2025, and we plan to go live with the upgraded system in September 2026. The upgrade includes over 1,400 enhancements aimed at improving the user experience and overall system functionality. Today, you will see three of the biggest enhancements: work centers, the move to the fluid user interface, and insights. So first, let's talk about work centers. A work center serves as a centralized hub for users to access key module components and is tailored to Cardinal system roles. Think of it as a one-stop shop for doing your daily tasks. It consolidates reports, queries, tasks, and relevant links into a single workspace. And the My Work section highlights where user action is needed. You'll learn much more about work centers from Chantel. Now let's talk about our move from classic to fluid. On this slide, you see the screen you're used to seeing when you access Cardinal Financials. It's a very desktop-centric design that relies on traditional multi-level menu trees. With the PUM upgrade, PeopleSoft Classic becomes a thing of the past. The new look is PeopleSoft Fluid, a modern and responsive user interface designed to adapt across devices using tiles and flexible layouts. Our demonstrations today will feature the new Fluid design. And finally, another great new feature being implemented as part of the PUM upgrade is PeopleSoft Insights. Insights is an analytic engine that provides fast, interactive, and actionable data directly within the PeopleSoft application. Insights is basically serving as the replacement for the retired business intelligence application. The Insights dashboards include interactive graphs, charts, and tables, which allow you to easily interpret data and identify trends. Kim is going to demonstrate the General Ledger Insights that will be implemented with the PUM upgrade. So we're giving you an exclusive first look at these new features soon to be available in the General Ledger module. We'll use your feedback and insights to help inform our communication and training strategy to our larger Cardinal audience. We're also hoping you'll be excited about what you see today, and you will take back what you learn and share it with your agency colleagues. So please feel free to share this presentation deck or the recording with others. We know virtual sessions are a challenge because there are so many distractions, but we really hope you'll be able to focus. We value your feedback and hope you will ask questions, because if you are thinking it, someone else probably is too. And lastly, please, please, please complete our post-session survey. Of course, we're going to be asking for some feedback and your thoughts in the survey, but we're also going to give you the opportunity to let us know if there are any links, reports, or queries that you think might need to be added to the General Ledger Work Center. I'm now going to turn it over to Chantel, who will provide walkthroughs and demonstrations of the General Ledger Work Center. Chantel, take it away.
Thanks, Dana, and good afternoon, everyone. As Dana spoke on, Work Centers is a new feature, of course. And for this, it helps. What we wanted it to do is for our journal processors and journal approvers to have like a one location that can provide better assistance for your daily Cardinal tasks, mainly for GL, of course, it's processing journals. I do believe that we have one question that we want to pose to you guys. And this is, of course, like I said, for you guys to get an idea of what it will be, but we want your feedback, of course. So the question that we're asking right now in your Menti, I think she's displaying it right now, thank you, is what is your favorite Cardinal report or query? So take a minute and give us an idea of that, because like I said, this is for you guys. We want to get your input. We want to get your feedback. We got a couple coming in, well, one coming in, COA query, which is good. Ledger balance, good one. Trial balance, love it. Another COA in that one as well. Posted vouchers, we're looking good. Based on those ones you had, so tell me out of the options that we have in there, which one you think is your favorite? What are we looking like, Monica? What we got? It looks like to me COA query wins. So that's a good one. That's a great one. I appreciate that. Okay, all right. I'm gonna start sharing and we're gonna get into this demo. So for this, within the GL module, we have these core main areas. We have my work, my approvals, my insights, links, queries, and reports and processes. Now, my work is big, and that's what we expect your journal processes and approvers to work through. This is role-based, and it'll help you with your job. If your journals are out there, you're processing your journals, it helps that you don't have to go from the journal page to some other features that'll help you without having multiple tabs open. We just want a one-stop shop. So when I get into my work, you can get a more visible understanding of it. And then as your approvers, again, role-based, it's a one place where you can go in and look at your journals, and we'll go through that as well in more detail. There's also a link for insights, which Kim will discuss a little bit more in detail when we get there. And then for links, queries, and reports, what we tried to do was build something that you guys use more often. Your links will get you there for your journal processing to get everything through from edit, budget check, posting. Your queries, we looked at all of the information that we had in the system based on what people use most. But your feedback, of course, is always helpful. So my work, within this one right here, you will see, and I'll show you a little bit more in the demo, when you come here, you'll see two of the exceptions. Exceptions being anything that's an error or an impediment. So your journal has not posted for whatever reason. And our two criticals are, of course, edit and budget check. So the first are your edit errors, and the second are your budget checking errors. So here is where you would go in and say, oh, okay, I have a couple journals in error. And again, it's role-based. So it's your processors and approvers, and you'll see what's sitting out there that needs work. And you can work it from here. I'll show you a little bit more there when we get to it. Then we have personalizations. Okay, so within this, there is the ability to come in and specify your business unit. So when you get in the system, of course, well, by default, it'll already be set up with all the business units that fall under your responsibility. However, if their list is humongous or gigantic and you want to minimize it just to see one of the agencies, you have the ability to come in here and change the filter to just the one that you want to see. But keep in mind, once you've changed it and saved it, that's what you see moving forward. So the next time you come in, you got to go back in and add all of the other business units that apply to you. But it's a good feature to help you, filter out some things if you are in charge of multiple business units and you just want to see one agency in particular. So this is a good feature that we can use. So that's why it's called set up your temporary filters, temporary being the word of the day. We don't want you to leave it there and come back and say, oh man, where are all my other business units? You have to remember, oh, my filters may be set to one business unit, but it allows a lot of flexibility here. We're going to go to the live demo, this information up. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. When you log in, of course, Dana already said this is the new fluid look. And this is my home page. And what you will see here is my GL WorkCenters, right? Now, when we clicked it, when you click it, you'll see what we've already established as some defaults. So some things will already be open for you. Immediately, you'll see that your exceptions is open and your journal processes is open, as well as your pending approvals. And just to begin, your exceptions are journals with errors. This is your edit errors. new look and new feel. But you can also see here, I put in an attachment for you to see that if someone has attached something towards that journal, you can see it from here. You can click on the attachments, and we put one in here just as a test. It opened up the view and you see what attachments were added to that journal. You don't have to go to the journal specifically to see that. Added that. And then we have other links. Important key ones are your lines, your status, and your journal ID. With your lines, you can click on that to see all of the lines that are within the journal. Now keep in mind, this is not as detailed when you come in, it's just the general. But you can click on your details, details to, or show all, and you can see the entire string. Now, this is not an editable page, but it allows you to see what's within your journal and kind of get an idea of where you are. Right? That's an option. And then you have your statuses. Now, it'll show you what status. Of course, they're going to be an error for the journal, and you can click on it and see what kind of error. Now, these were just, the example were just a line error, but you would see, of course, your commitment errors or anything else in here. It gives you a summary of what the issue is, and you have an idea. Again, it's not editable, but it's a page that can identify why the journal is in error. And then you have the journal ID link. Now, this right here will take you right to the journal itself, and this is where you're doing your action items. So you get to click on the journal, and it takes you directly to the journal itself. You see all of your tabs, your header, your lines, your totals, your errors, and your approvals. And you can see that the journal status is error. And for all of our processors and approvers, I know you guys already know what to do from here. However, it's just an easy click link that you don't have to actually pull up the journal. You just are specifically going to the ones in error. It works just like the other page. I have my error here where I can click on that. And it'll show me my error right there directly. Same thing as if you were pulling up the regular link to go to the journal itself. Now from here, you can work it. You can, if you know that someone else put in the wrong fund code, you can correct the fund, hit save, and you can hit your edit, and it'll go through just fine. I'll just, for example, oh, sorry. There goes my 7-2, click it. I can come down and hit save, just like you do any other journal in your processing. And then you hit your edit. Everything you do on a regular journal, I can do just right here, all in one-stop shop. You're going to get, of course, your message that you get right now currently. Do you want to save and stay here while it edits? I'll just say yes, and then it'll move forward. Now, once this journal is successfully edited, it will fall from your list. And if you need to have, I'm going to wait for it to finish. It will fall from your list, and then you're going to see the number drop. However, the number on the side currently right now will not change. It'll still say 2. I'll have to hit the refresh button, and it'll show that my number will change from 2 to 1. So there we go. Valid. I'm going to X out of this. It'll here, and I come up to my refresh, and it clears. I went from 2 journals to 1, and now I only see that 1 journal right there waiting to go. So all of those options are there, and they are the exact same thing under my commitment control. I have the journal ID, I have my status, I have my lines, and I have my attachment as well. So all the things I did in edit and error, I can do under my budget errors. Now, when it comes to the journal processing, as you can see, it's other statuses for a journal. So if I put my journal in incomplete status, it'll show up here. Journals available to edit, that's my NN. They haven't been edited, they haven't been budget checked, they'll be right here as well. Submitted journals for approval. So those are the ones that my processor has come in, created, and submitted. It'll show up here as all of the things that are waiting. Pushed back, denied journals as well, and my journals pending approval, and lastly, my journals ready to post. Those are the ones and the key items that we know happen within a processor. Keep in mind that your submitted journals for approval are all journals for your business unit, right? So I know specifically within like other agencies there, they may have a pooled work list. So if the person who submitted the journal is not within your pool, you may see it here for submitted journals for approval, but you cannot do any action on it. You cannot, as an approver, you can't come in here and approve it because you are not one of the approvers for that pooled work list. All right,
Chantel,
yes.
we do have one question
Sure.
from Cynthia Harvey. She wants to know, can we personalize our own work center, or is it based upon our roles?
When you're saying personalization, which items we use the most? Oh, okay, no. So this right here is standard. These are all the options that we have and have built as available to you.
So Monica says, I'm just gonna read it out for everybody
Okay.
else. Can we determine which favorite queries would be available to us? Now, Monica, queries and links and reports, you will have an opportunity to give us your thoughts on whether some are missing so that we can consider adding them. And Chantel can speak to this. That's a little different than the work center items.
Yes, yes.
Those are set and we don't plan to update my work items.
yes.
The queries,
Yes.
reports, and links, we have flexibility.
Yes, haven't gotten there yet, but yeah, for
Yes.
my work only, I haven't moved past that yet. So for these items where I talked about on the journal processing, they work and look the exact same as your edit areas, so I won't go through all of them. But again, you have your journal ID link, your status, your lines, as well as the ability to see attachments. And just like you work the errors above, when I gave the example, that processor or approver comes in and does the same action or whatever action you find necessary for these options as well. And my approval. Now, this is key because with Fluid, your work list has changed. So where you used to go and click your work list, and this is for the approvers, this is the location that you will now use. If you come here, you will see your journal entry, which is the amount, whether debit or credit, that's the total amount for your journal. You give a brief description, kind of like it's exactly like it looked in Classic View. You have your description of your journal, your business unit, your journal ID, the journal date, and the person who created the journal. It also has when the journal was routed. You can click here and select all of your journals, and you can do a one sweep approve, one sweep deny, whatever options you have, whatever is correct based on whether the journal should be moved or pushed back or held. You can do all of that in mass. You can also work it individually. I can come in and click on this journal, and I can see in summary what my lines are. I can also do the view journal lines and see what the lines are in detail. However, again, this one is not editable. It's just showing me what all of my lines are and all of my details for each line. Not an editable option, but a detailed view. This is where I can come in and look at the journal in detail. So you have a link for edit journals. And just like it did under the above one, I'm taken right to the journal. This level of detail is something that you would expect if something was wrong. Like if you got there and you're working your work list and something seems way off, then I'd have to look at the journal itself and figure out what happened. I have my comments here. So when I hit my approval, I can put in my comments, my date, whatever it is that you want referenced for each of your journals. And I can do that as well as when I hit here. Like for this one, if I hit approve, I can add my comments here and approve that journal. And just like it happened with the edit, once I do it and I hit refresh, this journal will fall off my list. My number will go down and I'll go from 3 to 2.
So Chantel, I'm gonna stop you for
Yes.
just a minute. We got another question from
Sure.
Cynthia. Will an approver be able to see timesheet approvers as well as financial approvals?
Yeah, so this is Julie Sykes. I'm so excited that you asked this. So within this component, you won't have access to the timesheets since it's in the HCM portion of Cardinal. However, we will have a similar work center and approval option that you'll see in for time and labor folks as well. And that is for supervisors and time administrators.
Okay, so we also have a link for insights. Keep in mind, Kim will do a wonderful presentation here, but just letting you know, the insights feature is here as well. So our links will give us 3 pages that are critical in posting journals or creating your journals. You have your copy, your create page, and your spreadsheet import, which are the 3 main components used to enter journals through GL. These will take you to the page, and I can pull up a run. Let me see if I created a run control. Let's just pull it up. Just as you would normally do on your copy journals page, you would find your journal ID, find your date, Well, the date will populate if you found your journal ID. And then I'll put in my new date and I'll hit my run as you would normally do and create a copy journal, but from this new feature, which has all of the components to one-stop shop. So you can do your copy journal here. And then we can also create my journals. So it takes you right to the page where I can go ahead and create a journal. You hit your add journal. And just as you would normally do from the page, you can create a journal from here. Then we have our spreadsheet import. And as you would normally do, I would add my file. And if you, of course, everyone knows the references for spreadsheet upload. If not, it's on the Cardinal website. But you upload your file here and you process as you would normally do. Just a great link and a great helping spot. So you won't have to have multiple windows open or do anything else. Everything is right here at your fingertips. Then we have pre-approved journals for posting. This is specific to certain users. But if a pre-approved journal, I'm not sure how many have experienced this, but maybe like a module journal for some reason gets hung and it's not posted. Only certain users have ability to do this, but they will be able to go in, mark the journals for posting, and it'll process at night. If you have a journal fail, this is where you would go on this page right here. If you have access, again, this is specific access to DOA. You come in here and you mark it for posting and it'll post as it normally would. That's only if you've had a pre-approved journal fall short of posting. You have to come in here to take action. And then we have other links. These links we find and view as something, of course, within GL that are critical. So you're creating your chart field values, your speed types, your speed charts. Trees are critical and important in GL. So we've got this link here, as well as your processing monitors and your report managers. So just a great spot to have them for you guys in a one-stop shop place for you to look at and view your chart field values, your speed types, etc. So again, it'll take you right to the page. It's nothing new. And you can pull up all of your chart fields here. Your speed type and speed charts, your speed types, and of course, view your trees. And then within here, of course, we have reports and queries. So you also have your process monitor and report manager for a lot of people who are using all of these, especially when it comes to your envisions. This is very helpful if you needed to, look them up in the process of looking up a journal. If you say, hey, something's wrong, maybe I need to look at the speed type, speed chart, maybe I need to see something and run a report. WorkCenter is a great place to have all of these things. So you don't have multiple windows, you can work it all through WorkCenter. So we hope that it's very helpful to be here. But as Dana said, links are something that we can discuss further, but let us know how you're feeling as we go through this. Keep in mind, we'll have time at the end for you guys to express how you feel or give us some suggestions as we go through.
Well, we got some positive feedback from Alicia that she loves the chart field link.
Perfect.
Because she's always searching.
Great. We love that. Okay. Great feedback. Appreciate it. So let's get out of links and we're going to queries. So when we did queries, we took a pulse and looked at the system to see what you guys use most often. And so for this demo, of course, we put the ones that are used most often. So you have your query manager. You will not see manager, you should see viewer, which should be available to everyone. And that will, a direct link to all of the queries. It's just like your page is set up. You'll have everything you've had. If you had favorites on here, your favorites will be visible. As you see, this user has favorites. So it'll take you there and then you can do your search exactly how you would do it normally. So query manager is there if you need to run it. And then we have the links to queries that we identified as being the most critical or the most used. And we see the chart field, COAs are in there as well. So we have all of these links for what we have right now as the top or most used one. If you click on it, of course, takes you right to it. Keep in mind the names are different. We put the description name versus the technical name. But it's easier to read than that one we've given the description itself. And you come here and you can run your query manager or query viewer. Very helpful. And then remember, we have our links above for your report manager and your process monitor. You can see there. You can go back here to see the results of your query. But again, also, as you run your query, you'll see it pull in here. These are the ones that we have identified thus far. Those are my actuals. Then we have some for Ledger. Well, one for Ledger so far that we've identified. But keep in mind, you let us know if you have any ones that you think are critical and fall into that category. You want to do some Ledger queries. Then we have capitalization. This one was used a lot. So we identified and brought it here. That's for your fixed assets report. And then for your budget report, we have this one, which was used very frequently as well. So get an idea of what you feel, but this is so far what we've identified as the most used and the most critical. Now we're on reports and processes, and we have the critical 3 points of journal processing, which are budget, edit, and post. So you can come here and in mass, edit your journal. If you have more than one, or you have a lot to do, or it's a big journal, it's not easy to sit there and edit check a journal that has thousands of lines. So we give you the option here of using the mass one, where you can come in and hit your edit, let the process go, and continue to work as this one is going. And that's for edit, budget check, and post. Then we have general reports. Again, taking a pulse of what was in the system of those that are most used. And I do believe that we had a couple in trial balance when we asked the question of your favorite queries and reports. So we have the Cardinal trial balance here as well, and the trial balance. And then we have, lastly, the budget reports. I think we've only identified one thus far, which is your revenue status report, which is used very frequently. In the beginning, when I did the slides, we talked about filters. So I can show you here. That is the wheel here. And you edit your filters. I'm going to show you what's set up right here. Right now, it's only set up for 501. But if I am a user that has multiple business unit capability, I can come here and select and pull in more than one business unit here. You can apply them here. Or if I need to change it, I can change it from 501 to if I want to just see all 151s or something like that. This is a great feature that'll help me identify or filter through all of my errors to just see the ones that I want to see at that time. These are the only required ones. You can also have, of course, period, your description, anything else, line, business unit, all of these options are available within your filter. But keep in mind, what you put here is now saved. So if you come in the next day and you forgot that you've put in a specific user ID, you may go, oh, shoot, I'm only seeing Jane Doe's journals. Let me change my filter, fix it, clear her out, and then you would see all of the other ones.
How do we access queries not on the list?
Oh, just go this regular way. So here, this is where you access the queries. Like yours will say query viewer, not query manager. But again, like I said, you'll see all of the favorites. If you have saved favorites, they will be here. Or if you just want to pull up one, you can pull up any query that you have. Let's see. Let me shorten my list here. Okay. I can see. And you won't have edit, of course, but I'm showing you options that are a little bit more wide open, but the same way as you would do any other query, you can come here and run it. And the good thing about it, of course, if you see, I did not lose my page. It just opened a completely different window. So therefore it didn't take over my page. I didn't have to minimize anything. I could still run this and go right back to my work centers. All right. So we have one more Mentee, and it's which Work Center feature do you think will be most helpful to users? So after showing you all that, and I know I kind of breezed through it, apologize for the rush, but tell me or tell us which one you think would be more beneficial to what your work process is right now, what you do most. My work, okay, here he's coming in. Love the feedback. That was wonderful. I appreciate it. I'm going to hand it over to Kim, who will go into insights.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. So as Dana went over when we were doing the intro, one of the other new features that we're very excited to be putting out in this POM are insights. General Ledger has the most that we're planning in our first rollout. We also have an AP insight dashboard and an expenses dashboard, but General Ledger is the focus for today. This is going to be available to you through a tile on your homepage, or as you saw on the Work Center, there is a link that would get you to the same exact place as clicking on the tile. We will have data available for the current fiscal year and the 3 preceding years before that. So you'll have multiple years of data. Now, where this is very different than your Work Center, all users with a reporter role. So a COVA reporter, Cardinal reporter will have access to the insights, and you will have access to all business units. It's not being restricted to just the business units where you have security. We will redact any sensitive data. Most likely that's not happening in general ledger, but in AP and expenses, we will have the ability for agencies to give us some information on what's sensitive so we can redact it. And the beauty with the insights is the available filters, that once you get into the insight, you'll be able to use multiple filters to hone in on that data that you are wanting to research or look at for that particular day. Now in GL, as I said, there are 4 different dashboards. It each has its own tile, as you can see here in our screenshot. Each one is set up very similar, but they each have their own purpose. We have a GL trend analysis, which is going to give us some high-level visualizations on fiscal year to date expenditures and revenues, so you can easily compare across years. The state budget to actuals, which focuses on our appropriation budget and actual expenditures, how much you've spent so far for a year, ability to filter down to business units, accounts, funds, and programs. We'll spend the most time looking at that one today. Then we also have a revenue budget to actual, and this one is based off of the official revenue estimate budget that is processed into Cardinal by Department of Planning and Budget based on those official revenue estimates from the Appropriation Act. And lastly, we have a project budget to actuals, which is based upon your project budgets. It gives you project data. What's really great about this one is even if you don't actually post project budgets, your project expenditures will be there for you to do some research and look at that data. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get into our live demo. As you can see, I'm logged in as myself, so I have a lot of access. So you can see a lot of tiles. The tiles you see is going to be based strictly on your access. So you probably will not have this many tiles on your home page. What we are looking for right now is the financial insights tile, the nice little one here with the little graphs. And we're going to click on that. And then that will bring us up to all of our insights tiles. The first 4 will be our GL, and then we have our supplier spend analysis for AP and employee expenses for the expense module. So we are going to jump in first and look at our state budget to actuals dashboard. I will go over this one in more detail and give you an overview here, a lot about how you can download different things, how they're set up. And then as we go through the other dashboards, we won't need to repeat all of those exact same things. A couple of other things that are different from WorkCenters to the dashboard. Number 1, we are in a development environment. We are just finishing build. We have not gone through system test. So what you're going to see is close to what we will deploy, but there will be changes. We will make things a little more cosmetically pretty and standardize some things, but this is a good first peek. And since we are in a development environment, could be a little slower than normal, but the other big thing that is different, your WorkCenter, as you saw Chantel hitting the refresh button, changes throughout the day as you process and as budget check runs and you're doing your work during the day. Insights, we will only refresh the data nightly in our batch process. So you'll always be pretty much a day behind, but that is pretty good. And it does not run against the transactional tables, so it's not slowing down system performance, and it allows this to actually run pretty fast compared to what we're looking at. Now, each of the dashboards is set up similarly so that you have filters at the top of the page. We start out with highly summarized data, and as we move down the page, we get into more detailed information. This particular dashboard opens up preset to the current fiscal year, but I will show you when we start applying filters how easy it is to change that view. We have filters for fiscal year, secretariat, business unit, an account roll-up level, account detail level, program at the roll-up level, and program service area, which is your detailed level for your program values, a fund roll-up, and then your fund at a detail level. All of these are filters that you can apply to hone in on that data that you're actually looking. Now let's start scrolling down our page. First up, we have some high-level metrics. And remember, this is based on your appropriation budgets. So for fiscal year 26, when we took a cut of our environment to create our development environment, so it's back in September, you can see we have a total appropriation. This was the actual amount that had been spent so far, and then our remaining budget. We have a little metric here to show you the percent of the budget that is remaining as of this point in time, and then a metric to show you where we are in the fiscal year. As of today, we have 42% of the fiscal year left to go. Our next data table is our appropriation budget to actual amount at a secretarial level. So you can see here we have the appropriation amount, the actual expenditures, the budget remaining, and the percent of the budget remaining at a secretarial level. Then we get into some charts. This is the budget to actual by fund and by program. And whenever you have a chart, you can hover over either your pie slice or your bar and see the dollar amount behind that bar. You're also able to export the data behind this chart by clicking on the three little dots in the upper right-hand corner, clicking on Inspect, and you would be able to download this data that's making up the table to CSV. Next up is our budget to actual information by fund. And to point out here, all of your data tables can possibly have multiple pages, and you will see that down in the bottom right-hand corner where you see lots of little numbers. So right now, this particular data table has 62 pages of information. All of the data tables can also be exported to Excel using the download icon in the upper left corner. I can click here to click formatted, and it will very quickly download this into a CSV file for me that I can then take, massage, create percentages, do whatever it is that you need to do with it. Next up is a data table giving us our same information, appropriation, budget to actuals, but this is at the high level program level, which is where the appropriations, as you know, are posted at the high level is how it comes over from DPB. Then we're going to start drilling down into a little more detail, and our next data table is by fund and program, giving us our budget to actual amounts. We've included your descriptions, your program description. And another thing to point out on all of these data tables, you can use your column headings to sort ascending and descending. So if you wanted perhaps to see your programs, put capital outlay up at the top. Most of these we have coming in preset so that the highest or largest appropriation is what is showing at the top, but you've got all of the ability to sort this by any of these columns. Then we're going to switch focus just a little bit when we get down to the bottom section of this dashboard. And here we're just really focusing in on the amount that's been expended and dropping off some of the budget data. So we have a nice little pie chart of expenditures by account at that roll-up level. So contractual services is the big slice of the pie here. And as you hover over, you can see it's going to tell you the actual dollar amount that is making up that slice and the percent of the total. So contractual services, transfer payments, and then personnel services as the third big slice as we go around. We have a data table giving us expenditures by account. Here, this is your roll-up contractual services, but then we have lower level counts under this particular item. So here you might want to get this sorted so that you have all your major objects together, and then you can see how that breakdown makes that up. Next up is expenditures by account and program. So we layer in the program and by account. And as you can see, you'll become a scrolling expert as this goes, as you get used to this dashboard. Expenditures now by account, fund, and program. So we're really getting down to some detail levels there. And then at the very bottom, we have the raw data that's making up what you've seen above. Here, you are actually able to click on this hyperlink to view the data, and especially once you've filtered and you've gotten it down to what you're actually looking for, you can click on the view journals and it will bring up a listing of what is making up that number for you. Now let's go back up to the top and apply some filters and show you what happens as you start applying these filters. As I said, this is currently set to the current fiscal year. And first off, what we're going to do is let's look at fiscal year 2025. Whenever you set a filter, you need to click the Apply Changes. We are going to come in and remove that initial filter that had us looking at FY26. And now you can see all of this change. So at the end of FY25, we had total appropriations of this. We had actually spent $89 billion. We ended the year up with 19% of our budget remaining. And you can see now we're in an old fiscal year, so the fiscal year is closed. So there is 0% remaining of that year. All of the data within the tables and charts has now been updated to reflect FY25 final year. Now let's go back and do one more little filter and say, I want to look at a particular business unit. You can click the drop down and search and find what you're looking for, or just easily type it in, click the value, and then remember to click your apply changes. So now I have, with a couple of clicks, switched my filter, and I am looking strictly at the Department of Health activity for FY25. You can see they ended the year with 24% of their budget remaining. And all of this information down below is updated just for what I have filtered. So they have the ability to do research, look into something that's specific. They can come in, perhaps there's a specific account they're interested in, or only one program that they want to look at, or one fund. You can also have the ability to have multiple items in your filter. So if I wanted to look at general funds and say, I'm guessing they have this fund, 2 funds at a time, you can do that too. So it's very powerful. And the great thing is you can't mess anything up. You're doing filters. You get confused and you don't know where you are, what you've got filtered. Just clear all your filters or go back out to your page, to the main page, and come back in. So it's a great way to do some research on particular items, see how you're doing as of the current day, see what your budget numbers are looking at once you drill down to your agency.
Also, you posted something in the chat, just wanted to.
But we could do that, 09450. And now we're going to look just at that fund.
Oh, there we go.
And look, they only spent 58% of their budget last year.
And we have another question for Brian. For the current fiscal year, will the percent of fiscal year remaining be 0 at June 30th, or does it go through final close?
Oh, Brian. It is actually based on the day of the year. So I would assume it's going to go to 0 on July 1st. You're going to see it say 0 because it is a calculation actually based on the days. It's not based on a fiscal period. It is actually based on the day of the year. Good question. Trying to make my brain work.
Yeah.
All right, so when you want to go, you can just use your back arrow. And next we're going to go and look at the revenue budget to actuals. And you can see that renders pretty quickly for what it's doing. It doesn't take much time at all. This one is also set so that it's bringing up the current fiscal year. And remember, I said this is based on the official revenue estimate, but it's also going to be a great place for you to research just your revenue that you've collected through the fiscal year or in the past. We have similar filters: fiscal year, secretariat, business unit, fund at a roll up, fund at a detail level, and then account roll up and account at the detail level. Here we have our high level metrics again, the total amount budgeted, the revenue that has been collected so far during the year, and the variance of that, a percentage to show you how much of the budget we have remaining to cover, and then where we are within the fiscal year. A similar chart, revenue by secretariat. Again, our revenue budget amounts, the actual, and the variance with the percentage. The same things apply that we looked at the others. You can hover over your bars, you can export the data behind the charts, you can export the data in the tables. So here we have revenue budget to actual by account and then by fund, with matching data tables to support those. And you can see here we've got 100 little pagelets of information on the by account. And then we have revenue by fund and account. Again, you're able to sort by your column headings if you wanted to sort by fund or sort by account. And then again, the raw data section where you can click the view journals to see your journal and budget detail. Now, this one gets a little trickier if you want to start filtering. Because of the way the official revenue budgets are posted into Cardinal, and they've always been done this way, whereas the majority of the general fund revenue budgets are posted to Agency 997. It's just how they do it. So once you start filtering, your budget numbers might look a little wonky if you're doing it by business unit, just so you're aware of that. And we'll have that all covered in our job aids when we get them produced for this particular dashboard. So let's say we want to look at how we ended up last year, FY 2025, apply that change, and then remove our other filter. So last year, we did pretty good. We collected $30 million more than what we estimated. Now let's say we want to just look at general fund. We can come in here, select the general fund, click apply changes, and then we can see by scrolling down the page how the general fund revenue did for FY 2025. Here's our detailed data by account. We can see employee withholding taxes, how that fared, individual income taxes. So we've got all kinds of information that we can dig into for the revenue numbers. You're also able, of course, to just look at a particular agency. Again, just being aware of how the different budget numbers might work. You may just be using this kind of filter when you're really just trying to look at your revenue numbers, not so much the budget information. So this would be for Department of Taxation for last year, where you can see all of the different breakdown and the types of revenues that they collect and the different funds that they collect for. A big telling spot for the budget. So you see they have zero budget for the general fund, which we all know Department of Tax collects lots of general fund money. And that's because, again, it's recorded under Agency 997. But you can see the revenue that they actually collected here is a great big number. All right, now projects. I think this is a fun one. I don't know why. I'm not even a big projects person. But I kind of like this one. I like that you don't have to actually be posting project budgets to actually get some benefit out of it. Now, as you can imagine, there is a lot of data for projects in the system, and this dashboard does life to date. So it's not just going to be the last 3 years, it's life to date. So there's a lot of data out there. So it is a kind of at a high level so that we could get that life to date in there. And we have it set so that nothing renders when you first open the page, just so that we're not slowing it down. So you will have to come in and make some decisions about what you want to look at when you first come in here. This particular case, I'm going to pick on Department of Criminal Justice Services and click on Apply Changes and then remove the preset filters that were limiting the data from showing so that we have something to look at visually. Here, our filters are a little different since we're on a project focus. We have fiscal year, which I don't think will get used a whole lot, but you could hone in on a particular year's expenditures if that's what you needed to do. Business unit, project manager, your actual project ID. So this will probably be the main filter you're using. Reporting category, effective status, is the project active or inactive, and the project start and end dates. So as we move down the page, first up is a data table of all of the project information by project ID for this particular business unit. It's going to give you the project description, the project manager, which is not a required field by any means, so most agencies don't use it. The start and the end date, the status, whether it's active or inactive, the life to date budget amount, the life to date actual expenditures, the variance between those numbers, and then the percent of the budget remaining. This is based on your CC Proj budget journals, not appropriations, projects. As you can see here, there are 36 pagelets of information available for this business unit. They could easily come in here and drop this to Excel by downloading the data. This is, at a high level, 1 row per project in this top data table. Then we have a couple of high level metrics for what I have filtered, their total life to date budget, total life to date expenditures, and the variance, and this is called a gauge of what percent of the budget has been used. Then we have a line chart, and this shows you over time how the expenditures and the budget have gone for this agency. Or more, when I think this one's useful is when I have it filtered for a particular project. You can see the budget and expenditure activity over time. Then we have a more detailed project data table that is going to give you the project ID, the description, the actual fiscal year, the budget amount for this fiscal year, the actual expenditures for the particular fiscal year, and then the life to date budget and life to date expenditures for the project with a life to date variance. Then, as you saw, as same as with the others, we do have a raw data table here for the project information. Now let's filter on a particular project just to show you how the data changes just a little bit. I found my project that I'm interested in, and I click Apply Changes. Now my agency data table is only filtered on this one particular project. My metrics have updated just to that project, and my line chart has updated to just be this project. You can see the budget. The agency has done a fairly good job of entering budgets over time for this project, and then how the expenditures have grown life to date over the years for the project. Here in our project data table, you can see it's currently starting from the earliest year of this project. I like to change this one and see the reverse order a little sometimes. So you can easily sort that fiscal year column. And then you can see you've got information on the budget and the actuals for each of the fiscal years. and then how the life-to-date amounts have grown over time. And then our raw data table again. And then very simple, you want to go back to see the whole agency, just remove that filter and it's back. It's like magic. All right, and the fourth of the 4 GL dashboards is the GL trend analysis. This one is built to show you 3 years of data. Again, we have some high-level filters, fiscal year, secretariat, business unit, the fund, program, and account roll-ups.
Before you continue, can we answer a question from Candy?
Yes.
She has a question. Under the current Cardinal, we can drill down on expenditures, see the source documents. Will we be able to do that here?
No, ma'am. You will continue to do that from your budget overview or budget details, wherever you're doing it from today.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, GL trend analysis. First up, we have revenue trends for year over year and expenditure trends year over year. So we have total revenue, budget, actual, and the difference. And the same for expenditures for 3 fiscal years. So you can kind of see how that's trending. Then we have the same basic data in a line chart to show you how the revenues and expenditures are trending. The next data tables are revenue by fiscal year and accounting period for the last 3 years, and the same for expenditures. Here, again, you're going to become scrolling experts. This is starting off with the oldest of the years, so fiscal year 2024. You can see how your revenue for the month and then your year-to-date revenue as the fiscal year progresses. Then we have the same information for fiscal year 2025 and then 2026. And then the same for expenditures with the data for the 3 years. Then we have a data table of expenditures by chart field, which we're going to have at the program detail level with your program description, fund with your fund description, the account and the account description, and the actual expenditure amount for those combinations. Again, all of this can be dropped to Excel very easily using the download icon. Then we have a similar table for revenues by fund and account, and then your raw data. So here, you can just look at one particular business unit, enter your business unit and click apply changes, and then the data refreshes just to give you the view of your particular agency. You can use your fund, your program account filters to filter down and research particular items you may be interested in. Okay, and that is pretty much the GL trend analysis dashboard.
So, and maybe we ask a quick question to the group. Did any of you previously use Cardinal BI? And again, they're not the same, they're different, but just wondering, Alicia, and Monica, great. Anybody else? So again, they're not the same, they're different. It's a toe in the water to get us started. It's a new technology, new functionality, and it's not exactly the same, but we're trying to replace as much as we can and make it as useful as possible. So if you have thoughts or additional comments, then that survey that Dana was talking about would be an amazing place for you to put it. And then Brian's asking a question, is the last 3 year range composed of 2 year prior plus the current?
It's another excellent question.
Brian's on point today.
The going in stance was it should be the current year plus 3 years prior. We have to make sure that we have them set the same all across all of the dashboards. We don't have performance issues to have that much. It may end up being current fiscal year plus 2 back. We're going to have to look at that when we're going through our system test.
And the idea is that it is embedded into the Cardinal application, so you don't have to jump over to the BI application. And what Kim was showing, it's similar to BI because it provides the executive summary data and statewide level data. That is another similarity and difference to what folks are used to seeing in Cardinal today. We really appreciate you taking the time to look at this.
Okay. Oh, wait, we got one more question from Brian.
Yes, when Finn is down, you would not be able to get to insights.
One of the earlier questions Cynthia asked was, hey, will you be able to approve timesheets in the same place you can approve GL? And we said, no, you can't do that. But one of the things we didn't really mention is if you hold core user roles in other modules, either on the HCM or Fin side, almost all of our modules have a work center and they all share the same basic look and feel that you saw today. So if you're a payroll administrator or you have accounts payable roles, you'll see these work centers in those modules too. So over the next few months, we'll be revamping all of our training materials, including our instructor-led training, our web-based training, job aids and videos, and we'll of course be creating some new training materials for our insights and work centers. And we're also developing relevant communications to prepare our users for all these upcoming changes. Over the summer, we plan to conduct a number of forums to introduce these new features to the larger Cardinal community. And as we mentioned earlier, Go Live is planned for early September 2026, as evidenced by our little celebratory bird. And then after Go Live, we'll hold a number of additional forums to address any hot topics or to provide any clarifications based on issues we see in tickets that have been opened. So a lot to look forward to and a lot of work ahead of us to get us to September. So we really do appreciate your time and attention today. Let us know if you have any final questions or comments. Should we begin discussing with our AZ? Yes, Monica, we would love for you to do that. Like I said earlier, we're going to share the presentation and we're going to share the recording. You may share it with anybody. We would love for y'all to build up a little excitement. And again, we're hoping that when you take the survey, if you've got any thoughts on when to communicate or what to communicate or any special features to, emphasize in our training materials, we would love to hear about that. So I'll give you just one last plug for our survey. The link and the QR code are right here. We'll also put the link in our follow-up email to you. So please don't forget to take that. We really appreciate you attending today and we hope you have a great rest of your day. So thanks, guys.